Hi everyone. We're going to take a moment today to look at thesis statements for the upcoming rhetorical analysis essay. So, in this upcoming paper, your assignment is to find a visual text, like a public service announcement, a commercial, a print ad, or it could be a piece of visual satire, like a comedy sketch or a political ad. And you're going to argue whether or not the piece is effective. Does it effectively convey its message to its intended audience? So before you can compose your thesis statement, here is what's on your plate. The first thing you'll want to do is decide what kind of visual text you want to write about. So you can see there's a link here in these slides, but you also have access to this Google Doc in Canvas, and it is a document filled with different links for visual text, different public service announcements, links to collections of commercials, links to collections of print ads, some links to some comedy sketch groups, that sort of a thing. You don't need to choose from there, but it's a really great group of visual texts. So I suggest it if you don't know what else to write about. Watch it a few times and take some notes. Also, you have access to some graphic organizers. There's a graphic organizer to help you take notes on a public service announcement and one to help you take notes on a commercial ad. And I'm working on one on a print ad. Once you've taken some notes and you can see what choices the person who created this piece is making to connect with the audience, ask yourself, is this effective? Is it reaching the people that they want it to reach, and would these people be receptive to the message and the way they've presented it? Then you'll be ready to compose your thesis statement. So in today's lesson, we're really quickly going to look at thesis statement examples for the rhetorical analysis essay. And at the end, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you might structure your paper after you've got that thesis statement in place. So you may remember that the thesis statement has a basic formula. Any thesis statement will always have a topic, which is what you're writing about, and a stance, which is the position you're taking on that topic. So for this paper, our topic is your visual text. It's that public service announcement you've chosen, that commercial, that print ad, whatever you want to write about. Your stance is whether or not it is effective. Does it effectively use tools to connect with the audience and get the message through to that particular demographic? Everybody's thesis statement needs to say clearly that the piece is effective or that it is not effective. Let's look at some samples. Okay, there are two types of thesis statements. There are those that include the blueprint, so the three main arguments, and you can tag those onto the end. But there's also the type of thesis statement that is just a topic and a stance. And this paper lends itself really nicely to that kind of higher level, more collegiate thesis statement. So here is one example of a thesis statement with no blueprint. The 2015 Super Bowl ad commercial for Nationwide Insurance, Boy, effectively communicates its message of the danger of childhood deaths to an audience of parents and caregivers. So what we have here is the topic. So that whole first portion is about the topic, the 2015 Super Bowl commercial for Nationwide Insurance called Boy. Our stance is that it's effective. What is it effective in doing? It's effective in conveying its message to its audience. Here's a similar thesis statement, but with that 3-point thesis, with the blueprint at the end. The 2015 Super Bowl commercial for Nationwide Insurance, Boy, effectively communicates its message of the danger of childhood deaths to its audience through the use of logos, pathos, and ethos. Now, in a thesis where I get the 3 points, where I, as an audience member, see those 3 points in the thesis, I know that the first body paragraph is going to be on logos, the second will be on pathos, the third will be on ethos, or at least there will be a section on each of those. Let's look at another 3-point thesis approach. Amazon's 2019 Super Bowl ad titled "Not Everything Makes the Cut" is effective because of its use of narrative structure, celebrity guests, and humorous anecdotes. Okay, so here, instead of going logos, ethos, pathos, the writer has chosen 3 aspects of the commercial that are effectively working to connect with the audience: narrative structure, celebrity guests, humorous anecdotes. You could even just keep it simple and clear. Amazon's 2019 Super Bowl ad titled "Not Everything Makes the Cut" is an effective advertisement. This works. Got the stance, I've got the topic, nice and snappy, nice and clean. This works. Of course, you're going to need to keep in mind on your own what your main ideas will be, even if they are not present in the thesis. But luckily, your instructors are going to ask you to write an outline for this paper, and that will give you the opportunity to plan your ideas. So let's talk about structure. Once you have that thesis and you're thinking about your outline, you're going to be thinking about how you're going to plan out your essay. You have two options. You could write that classic 5 or 6 paragraph essay, which would be an intro, 3 to 4 body paragraphs, and then a conclusion. That would lend itself nicely to that logos, ethos, pathos type of thesis statement. Or you could have a more organic analysis structure where you break your paragraph when argument dictates that you break your paragraph. This would be the kind of paper where maybe you have 4 separate tools that you see working in this commercial that you would like to discuss. Maybe you have a paragraph on music and another paragraph on the use of real people in the video, and then maybe you have another paragraph on symbolism. You could pick tools that are working within it and just write a paragraph or a section on each one of those. So as you watch your video and you're taking your notes, just keep these ideas in mind. You're going to support your argument that it's effective or it's ineffective by looking at these types of things: logos, ethos, and pathos. Or you could do an analysis of who the audience is, what the tone of the video is, how the structure of the piece works, how they use music versus silence, how they use color. This one's really big in a print piece. And space, color and space both are really important in a print ad. Camera, if you have watched the public service announcement, Love Has No Labels with John Cena, the way they use the camera in that public service announcement is really key. The use of text or wording versus narration versus dialogue. Do they have celebrities? These are the types of things you want to keep an eye out for. So I do recommend that you watch the videos where we're talking about analyzing some public service announcements and commercials, and use those graphic organizers to help guide you as you take notes. So one last little note here on structure. So if you want to do something that's a very typical academic 5-6 paragraph essay, here's what you would include: an introduction with a clear thesis. You would have at least 5 paragraphs. You'd have 3 distinct analysis paragraphs, like logos, ethos, pathos is a really nice one to do, but make sure that your chosen piece includes logos, ethos, and pathos. We've watched a few videos in this class where they hit the pathos really hard, but there's no logos, like the Love Has No Labels public service announcement that takes place in that outdoor mall area in California. It's all pathos and there's no logos. So if you want to do logos, ethos, pathos, make sure you choose a piece that does all of those. You want to reference the visual text, the PSA, the commercial, the print ad, with quotes and details. You want to have a conclusion, and you want a works cited page, including the visual text. You may choose to bring in outside source material, maybe a statistic about something. You could have more sources than just the piece that you're analyzing. What I'm calling the more organic structure, here's what this is going to look like. You're going to still have an intro section with a clear thesis, as many paragraphs as you need, still no fewer than 3 body paragraphs, but you'll have as many as you need. Break paragraph when you shift your focus of your analysis. So maybe in this one, you would look at 3 different ways that they use pathos in a particular public service announcement. And then maybe you would also talk about audience and message. You would break paragraph when you need to break paragraph. Again, you would still reference the visual text with quotes and details. You'll still have a conclusion. You'll still have a works cited page. If you take a look at this little note down here, there are sample student essays in Canvas within this module that show you examples of both of these. We have an outline for you to check out in Canvas, and we also have student sample essays. So do yourself a favor and take a look at those. This is one of the more challenging papers of English 101. It asks for the most critical thinking, so definitely take a look at the models. All right, in closing, here are your next steps. After you have chosen your piece, taken your notes, you're going to write that thesis statement. You need to submit your thesis statement in Canvas, and then you can move on to outlining your rhetorical analysis essay, making sure that you use the Roman numeral structure and you write in complete sentences. Again, there is a model of an outline in Canvas that you can check out. At that point in time, you can create your works cited page. Again, you may want to revisit the video on works cited pages, and I highly recommend using a citation generator like Citation Machine to help you. Submit your outline to your instructor, however your instructor is asking for that, either through a link in Canvas or through Google Docs. And then once you've done that, you can begin fleshing your ideas out into a rough draft. All right, everybody. Again, reach out to your instructor if you have questions or issues. Feel free to revisit the analysis videos to help you get wrap your head around the kind of critical thinking we're looking for here. All right, everybody, have a great day, and I will see you in Canvas.